Hey guys, welcome back. And I think the Jacksonville Jaguars were probably the most requested team of the 7 round team mock draft series throughout the entire regular season. It felt like every day, every other day, Jags fans were like, can you do us next? Can you talk about us next? And it was, we're finally going to talk about this Jaguars mock draft because this is a team that was maybe the most disappointing team in all of football. I didn't see them as a playoff team coming into the year. I saw them at around 500, 8-9, 9-8, but they've got the number 5 pick in the draft. They've got a new head coach coming in. It hasn't been hired at the time of recording this. So they'll have a new head coach, but they retained general manager Trent Baalke, which was maybe the worst move of the offseason, and it hasn't even started yet. Baalke has been a disaster for them and is drafted pretty poorly. So, Jags fans, this is my petition to try and be your next general manager. I'm going to do a 7 round mock draft to try and fix this team that, in all honesty, doesn't really feel like it needs that much fixing. I feel like in this weak AFC South, if you can get Trevor Lawrence some better help, if you can improve this defense and keep your quarterback healthy, I think you can win a championship. Now, I know for the people commenting, yes, we will be doing all 32 teams, but we are going in draft order. So that's the way we're going to be doing this. We will be doing trades as well, but those will be coming from a different site and we will implement it here. So you guys will all see how it works out. Leave a like on this video. Also, be sure to check out my Patreon page, which will be linked down in the description below. There, for only $5 a month, you guys will get exclusive access to my in-depth draft guide and big board with over 500 scouting reports, analytics, pro day combine numbers, measurements, all the information you guys need this draft season. I highly recommend it. But let's go ahead and kick this off with the Jacksonville Jaguars. All right, on the clock here at number 5, and don't pay attention. Abdul Carter is off the board in this series. I know a lot of Jags fans want him. He's off the board in this series. So we're kind of in between two prospects for me, and it's Mason Graham and it's Will Johnson, the two Michigan players. Will Johnson, to me, is the best cornerback prospect I've seen since Sauce Gardner. Size, man-to-man abilities, zone abilities, instincts, ball skills. He was incredible. Got banged up a little bit this year, which is unfortunate for him, but he is a blue chip prospect, a generational type of cornerback, and a player that I think is going to be a massive difference maker. Then you got Mason Graham, another player who you could argue is the best player in this draft class. Absolutely ridiculous size, has the pass rush upside on the interior to be a big time difference maker. You've got, he can rush the passer, he can defend the run. Really, really impressive player. I think it's between these two if you are the Jags based on the way that the board has fallen. And I lean towards Will Johnson. I think this is a decent defensive line class. I think you can get good depth in day 2, day 3. I don't really think you're going to find a player like Will Johnson anywhere in this class. The size, the ability in man coverage, I think is absolutely elite. And in other areas, I think cornerback is a bigger need for this team than defensive tackle in the first round. Tyson Campbell has battled through injuries, it seems like his entire NFL career. I don't want to have to worry about if he goes down not being able to shut down other guys. Will Johnson is the player that I have been mocking to the Jags for months, and I'm going to stick by it. I think he is arguably the best player in this class, not named Travis Hunter, and he's going to be my pick here at number 5. Back on the clock here at number 36, and I would like to get Trevor Lawrence some more weapons on this offense because I don't really think they have a ton of explosiveness in this offense. Brian Thomas Jr. was unbelievable as a rookie, was the best rookie wide receiver this year, and is going to be in offensive rookie of the year conversations and votes. You need another guy. Christian Kirk got banged up. And outside of that, I really don't love what you guys have in the receiving room. The receiving board's good. Egbuka will not be on the board at number 36. And we're kind of in between some interesting players. Isaiah Bond, to me, is in a very similar mold as Brian Thomas Jr., kind of a speedster, deep. Trey Harris, I think, is more of a deep threat. The player I actually have my eye on is Stanford's Alec Iomanner. 6'2", 210 pounds. He looks even bigger than what he is listed. He's a solid route runner who does a good job of breaking out quickly. He has good speed to win down the field, which you don't normally expect from these bigger type of receivers. And he had absolutely phenomenal hands. You would like to see him get better at the 50-50 balls. He's had some drops, and I think he plays a little too vertical in his stance. But this is a player that I think can run routes really well. He's got good quickness, good speed, And I think it'd be a number two, maybe a number one receiver at the next level. But in this offense, you're going to get Christian Kirk back, but he's a free agent next year. So you'll get Christian Kirk back. Now you've got Iomanor, Thomas, and Kirk in the slot. That is a wide receiver trio that I could get on board with. I love this for Jacksonville. I'm going to take Alec Iomanor here at number 36. Here at pick number 70, and right guard is a pretty sneaky need for this Jags team. Brandon Scherff is a free agent this year, and I think they need to improve the interior of this offensive line. You drafted Anton Harrison. He's been solid. You brought back Walker Little. You got to improve the interior. Mitch Morse as well. Only 1 year left on his deal. I want to go with a right guard, and I think this board fell perfectly because Tate Ratledge is, in my opinion, right up there with Tyler Booker as the best guard in this class. 6'6", 310 pounds. Absolutely elite on the move, is a very good run blocker in space. I think he could be a difference maker in that department. I love what he brings as a run blocker, but he's also very strong as a pass protector. He's got really good anchor. I thought he shows really good hand placement from time to time. This is a player that would be getting a lot more hype if he didn't miss a good portion of this season with injuries. Does struggle at times with consistent run blocking angles, and I think balance is a bit of a concern, but this is a guy that I think will be a starting guard in the NFL. I just think he will be. All the tools are there. He is so good in space. He's such a powerful, nasty blocker. I absolutely would love Tate Ratledge here. I think he is a big-time difference maker for this offense. Here at pick number 88, and a lot of really good players still left on the board. Safety is a position I would love to draft. I kind of think we've got to pick at 105. I got my eyes on a player that I might be taking there. Edge rusher, maybe a number 3 guy. Again, got some guys in mind down the board that I think would make a little bit of sense. A position that I don't think is really getting enough respect as a big-time need for this Jags team is running back. Tank Bigsby was pretty good as that number 2 power type of back this year. But the downfall of Travis Etienne this season was really surprising, and he definitely underwhelmed. I'm going to take a player that I actually compared to Travis Etienne at his peak, and that's going to be Ohio State's TreVeyon Henderson. I wouldn't be shocked if Henderson is the fastest running back in this draft class. He's dealt with injuries in 2023, maybe not the best inside runner, but man, if you get this guy outside in space, his speed is absolutely dynamic. We saw it in the Cotton Bowl against Texas on that screen pass, 75 yards to the house. This guy is a big play machine. His open field speed is electric. He can be a receiving back out of the backfield. He's improved as a blocker throughout his career, and he shows exceptional patience, quickness. He's got a really good jump cut. This is the type of guy that I think would absolutely thrive in Jacksonville as a number 1 type of back. I do think he's going to be that guy for this team. Bit of a unpopular pick here to go running back this early, but I think it's a much bigger of a need for Jacksonville than people are going to give it credit for. So we're going to take TreVeyon Henderson at number 88. A trade offer just came our way that I absolutely love. The New Orleans Saints want to move up 5 spots in the 4th round. They're willing to give up a 6th rounder at 182. We're going to move back 5 spots, pick up an extra 6th. Love this for us because I've got players in mind that I think might be a little bit too rich here. I love this trade value. So the Saints, we're going to move back. We're going to get an extra 6th rounder and just add more capital to this team. Here at number 110, we already did one move that I think really improves the secondary. I want to make another one because I think that the safety position is a big-time need for this Jags team. Andre Cisco took a major step back this year. Wingard was not all that amazing. He was good for them, but nothing incredible. I want a versatile defensive back, a guy that I think can play the passing lanes, can be a big-time playmaker. And that is going to be Iowa's Sebastian Castro, a guy that's played a lot of slot corner throughout his time at Iowa, but I do think he probably will be a safety at the next level. 5'11", 205 pounds, incredible instincts, is a very good player when dissecting screens. He comes downhill, he hits hard, he's got ball skills, he can match up in one-on-one coverage, and is a absolutely phenomenal run defender. He's not the biggest guy in the world. that might be a bit of a note. He is not amazing in man coverage while he's got the quickness and the speed. I think he thrives best in zone, but this is a guy that I think is a home run hitter. I think this is a big time playmaker, a guy that has been really good for Iowa over the last few years. I think I'm going to take a chance on this type of a player with his instincts, his athleticism, and his versatility in the defensive backfield. I think this would be a home run pick for Jacksonville at number 110. Another pretty small trade offer that I didn't mind. We're going to take that number 182 that we acquired from the Saints, and we're going to move it up to 174, move back 3 spots, move up 8. I don't really see any problem with this. We turn a 6th into a 5th. I think this is good value here. I'm going to make this move with Baltimore. Here at number 127, I want to get a better interior presence on the defensive line. And I would have loved to go get a boom or bust type of player. I like DeMonte Capar. He ended up going a little bit higher than I thought he was going to go. Ty Robinson would be a player I would consider. He's still on my watch list. I will get to him very soon. But we're going to go with the other Ty in this draft class, and that's going to be Ohio State's Ty Hamilton, a really, really good player that is kind of falling under the radar. 6'3", 295, not the biggest guy in the world, but he's got good length. I thought he is a really strong player. If he got good hands on an offensive lineman, he could control the rep from the very beginning. He knows how to utilize his hands, particularly as a run defender. He's got an incredible football IQ. He knows leverage, and I love to see that. I just don't know if he's an every down player. That's kind of my biggest note on him. He's not the best athlete, not much of a pass rusher, but I think that's okay. You drafted Mason Smith last year, who could be that pass rusher type of guy. He showed some promise towards the back half of the season. Ty Hamilton is a guy that I think can be a run defender right out the gate. Roy Robertson Harris was not that amazing this year coming off of injury. Devon Hamilton, I still think you got to improve this interior. And I do think Ty Hamilton is a player that can do that. I've been wanting to take him in the last few mocks. He ended up falling a little bit further than I would have liked, but this is the value I have him. I got a 4th round grade on Ty Hamilton. He is my number 121 overall player. We're only 6 spots out of that. I think this is very reasonable. Ty Hamilton will be my pick, and we're going to take our second Ohio State player of the video. A position that Jags fans have been really hoping for is a 3rd edge rusher. You got Josh Hines-Allen. Trayvon Walker made some big-time strides this past year. And I think a 3rd edge rusher that could kind of be a rotational guy, maybe a pass downs type of player, could show some versatility. It's kind of what this team needs. Savion Jones is the guy that I had in mind. Unfortunately, I'm a lot higher on Savion Jones than a lot of people. I think he is going to go much higher than this, especially after he performs well at the Senior Bowl. I think he's going to get a lot of hype. But a player that I want to give a shout out to that I've got a 5th round grade on, and as a player that I think is going to be a solid edge piece, I've got him at around this range, and that is going to be Oluwafemi Oladejo out of UCLA. Was one of my favorite, like, under the radar edge rush videos or edge rusher that I watched this year. This is a guy that in a really good edge class did stand out to me because I do think he is a really nice power rusher. He had a good bull rush. He could come in, had a really quick first step, and he knew how to convert his speed into power, which I loved. I thought he showed versatility to play anywhere along the defensive line, and he plays with incredibly active hands. He's got good bend, still a bit unpolished, has not really added a ton of pass rush moves to his tool belt. But in the 5th round, a guy that with athleticism, with length, with bend, 6'3", 250, I think this would be a really good shot in the dark. It feels like a bulky pick, but I actually think the upside with him is really high. He is a linebacker that was playing edge for the first time this year. He initially was a middle linebacker for the Bruins. They moved him to edge, had a really solid season. I'm going to take a chance on that guy at number 141, and I think he can be a starting edge guy or at least a good number 3 at the next level. Center is a position that I think is an underrated one as well for Jacksonville. You got Mitch Morse under contract. He's been solid for them. I think getting a developmental center in the room is really important for this team because he's got 1 year left on his deal. I think you can definitely upgrade that position long-term. And I'm looking at Cooper Mays from Tennessee, 6'4", 310 pounds. I think he's got solid size, is a good athlete, can play in space, particularly in the run game. I thought he showed some big time improvements, opened up some big holes in the run game this past year. And as a pass protector, I thought he was a really nice chip blocker, did a really nice job at chipping inside, helping his man. I really like that. He's got to improve his play strength. It's very up and down. He's also still pretty inconsistent in terms of his technique in pass protection, but I think the athleticism, the size, and the overall potential here is worth the bet. He won't start right away. This is a guy I'm taking with the intention of sitting a year, letting him learn the position behind Mitch Morse, and then I'm going to let him start in 2026. But I like the value here. In the 5th round, you can get a potential starting offensive lineman, a guy who's been at Tennessee. He's been a starter on a good SEC team for a while. I'm going to take Cooper Mays here at number 174. Here at pick number 180, I'd like to get a good quarterback here to be the backup to Trevor Lawrence. He has dealt with injuries throughout his NFL career, and I think we need to start asking some questions about his durability. But it really showed when Mac Jones went into this lineup, the lack of arm strength, the lack of real pocket presence, or anything of that sort, it was apparent. I really like Curtis Rourke. I don't think Kyle McCord will be on the board. He would be the no-brainer pick. I just don't think it's realistic. I like Curtis Rourke, though. I think he had a really good year for Indiana. Has the ideal quarterback size, 6'5", 223 pounds. He's dealt with some injuries. He's 24 years old, but I kind of like that at the same time. He comes with more experience. This isn't a project guy. This is a guy that if he needed to start some games, I think he could do it and be a solid player. Makes good decisions with the football. Throws with some zip. He's got really good touch. I think he throws some of those back shoulder passes better than just about any quarterback in this draft class. Yes, he does need to work on going through his progressions. I don't think he's got this elite arm strength. He's not the best under pressure, but is a backup quarterback. You're just taking a guy that you hope can start if he needs to, but he's not going to start because he's better than your starter. At number 180, why not go and get a guy like Curtis Rourke, who had a really good year, was in the Heisman finalist list, or I believe was in the top 10 in voting. He's a good quarterback, and I think here at number 180, I would take a chance on him as a nice backup. Here at pick number 192, we're going to go back to the offensive line. I think at this point in the draft, this is usually when you see teams take swings on upside potential on the O-line. It's kind of what we did with Cooper Mays just 18 picks ago. We're going to do something very similar here in Georgia's Xavier Truss. Now, Truss, I think, had a pretty down year for Georgia, but I think the upside is certainly there. 6'7", 320 pounds. He played everywhere along the offensive line for Georgia. He's played some guard. He's played some right tackle for them, and he's a very powerful blocker in the run game. I thought he did a good job on screens of climbing the second level, making impact plays in space. I also thought he showed strong hands in pass protection, did a good job of countering pass rushers. There are going to be concerns about his overall potential. He had ups and downs in terms of his footwork, has not really started at tackle full-time at any point throughout his career. He got beat on his inside shoulder way more than I'd like to see, but at 192, I like the value on a guy that I think could be a starting tackle. At the very worst, I think it'd be a good swing tackle for you. So I'm going to take him here at number 192. Our final pick here, I kind of want to double dip at receiver, get a more possession type of guy, a guy that's really good in contested catch situations. And I'm going to go with Theo Weiss out of Missouri. Kind of shocked that he's at 331 here on the big board. He didn't have a great year for Missouri, but really nobody did, even Luther Burden. This is a really good player. He's 6'2", 192 pounds, got long arms, really strong, really physical wide receiver. Loved his ability in contested catch situations, though. That's where he thrived. He's got incredible body control with the ball in the air, and I think that's going to translate. He's not the fastest guy in the world. He's not the greatest separator in the world, but he is a guy that is going to win the 50-50 balls, and I think that is a type of player Jacksonville could take a shot at on the 7th round. Would have liked to go with a tight end. Just really don't love the value here. The only guy that I really gave any consideration to was Maliki Mataval, but I just don't really know what the league thinks of him right now. So I am going to go with Theo Weiss. He's a receiver that I liked last year, and I think is going to be a good, solid receiver at the next level. So there we have it, Jags fans. Hopefully, I did your team justice and took some of the guys that you were hoping I would. But there is our 7 round Jacksonville Jaguars mock draft. I love this draft, honestly. This is probably my favorite of the 5 we have done so far. You get one of my favorite prospects at corner. You get a really good offensive lineman in Ratledge. You improve the run game. You get some developmental offensive line pieces here. You get Curtis Rourke. And I think Theo Weiss and Alec Ioman are pretty great complements to what you already have in the receiving room. But I'd love to hear from you guys. Which picks did you agree with? Which picks did you disagree with? Let me know down in the comment section below. Leave a like on this video. Subscribe if you are new. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Adios.